got Tarzann in the house.
His name is the real Tarzann.
My man, the real Tarzann, came down.
24-year-old Michael Holston out on the water at night.
With its scenes of charging rhinos, savage pygmies, and the great hunter.
Tarzann. Times like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going. Tiger style. I'm a jungle brother. Tiger style. Times like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going. How I keep them going. Times like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep them going. How I keep them going. I'm a jungle brother. Jungle brother. Jungle brother. Jungle brother. Straight out the jungle.
He's the king of the jungle. King of the jungle.
So in here, it's this room was built just to accommodate the move, and you can see we've got trays everywhere. We put the foam panels up on the coldest nights. These guys are all sun-needing species over here. It is tough because they got to carry the bins to the sink, which is tricky unless you're a big, strong guy. But it does provide really good sun access, really good shade, warmth on the cold nights, and so far cool enough. These are different, all these different trays. You know, I get from Chris at Sea Serpents. If I give him the bin, he'll build me the rack.
Wow.
So I find these. I'm trying to figure out where we found these. These were from, these plastic containers were from the Container Store. Salvini, Triplicatus. Here's a pretty turtle. This is called a Tabasco mud turtle.
Tabasco mud turtle.
Say Central South America. Wow. You stick his head out, you'll see just the reddest eyes, the reddest neck. Not a red cheek mud, just a totally different turtle. Tabasco mud turtle.
I know the turtle geeks out there are freaking out.
Little African muds.
Because I am.
Little African mud.
Oh, man.
And I'll show you one of my favorites is our last Claudius of the year. Chinese people went crazy and tried to buy every single one we have to export to China. But I had to save one for our U.S. customers. Okay, so this is not a very big species, but they'll bite your hand clean off. This guy is about 5-6 months old. They're born about the size of a jelly bean. And they can, as adults, they can take your fingers clean off.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Those Chinese big head turtles?
They're like them.
Yeah.
They're like them. Let's see. But they're actually not related to them. Let's see if I've got a bigger one here someplace. Okay. So this is what an adult male, this is a fully grown adult male Claudius looks like.
Oof. Ooh. Definitely has
and you could take a chunk off your phone if you wanted.
Ooh, yeah.
And you could also reach the back of his shell, and you can see here
he's got a long neck.
Oh yeah. And he's got amazing colors too.
Dude.
Yeah, that's a breeding male right there.
That boy is handsome.
And the girls are just a little pudgier, the same size, but a little pudgier. You can see the colors against my shirt a little bit better.
Yeah, man. Funky turtle. And definitely got an attitude of a snapper.
Oh boy.
For sure.
Oh boy. Here's just some pretty three stripes that we hatched.
Ooh.
And I try to save the pretty ones out because I love them. These I've been raising these up for a couple years.
Man, you got some sick shit, dude.
Just real pretty ones. Let's see. Triplicatus. Let's see.
Ooh, man. You guys seeing this?
Giant Mexican musk turtle. These guys get as big as footballs. And it could also bite your hand clean off. Let's see. Razorback musk turtle that we grew up. Now these are protected throughout their range, so there's only captive-born ones available in the U.S.
And that shell is flawless.
Yeah, he's going to be a welcome addition to our breeders. Just a pretty turtle. Just a crazy-looking dome.
Literally flawless, man.
Looks like the conquistadors' helmets, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an animal.
And we're actually building a pen for them now. Okay, so these are Pelusius niger. It's a Nigerian mud turtle. We actually hatch these ourselves now. I want to say there's 16 or 18 different species of the African muds, and we hatched 7. Real pretty turtle. This one's kind of shy. Let's see if I have a bigger one that's, let's see, how about...
So all African muds are Pelusius, right?
Pelusius, or like here's Carinatus. These we hatched.
What?
It's a keeled mud turtle. And they're a really cool turtle. I'll show you where the adults are of these later on.
And these are young ones, huh?
Yeah, well, these are about 2 years old. Just amazing eyes. Look at the colors in there.
Yeah, man.
Real friendly turtles. You know,
They're smiling.
The African mud turtles tend, on average, to be the most durable turtles in the world. They come from a difficult place, or crocodiles are trying to eat them, and people are trying to catch them and eat them, and the other predators are trying to catch them and eat them, and they just tend to be tough as nails. I've seen ones with missing a leg or a foot, and they're fine. Problem is, sometimes if you have a bunch of them and somebody bites another guy by accident when they're trying to eat, they get a little bit of blood, and
it's game time.
they'll all eat his arm.
Yep.
They smell the blood. Let's see if we've got anything exciting in here. African helmeted Pelusius niger. This might be a pretty one. Let's see. I don't think.
Guys, you guys see how clean and organized all this stuff is?
Oh, you caught us on cleaning day. I wish we had gotten here ahead. Cleaning crew. Let me see. I think I've got some stuff on the side over here. Let's see. Remember I told you earlier about the 6-inch, 2.5-year-old wood turtles?
Yep.
Well, one of them wasn't doing well, so we isolate them. We don't want to lose them. We don't want to raise them for 2.5 years and have them not do well. So we brought them back inside. And we're trying to give him TLC, and I figure once the cold is over, I mean, his colors are just gorgeous.
Insane, yeah,
He's going to be a male, but he just wasn't doing well outside. So instead of losing the turtle, we give him every chance. Medicate him, bring him in. See, we even have a note here. I'm sick. Please give me worms and pellets. And it's just to tell, remind our guys, hey, let's feed the heck out of this guy. Let's make sure he has everything he wants. Pay close attention to it. Charcoal Peninsula Cruise. Okay, let's see if I've got some of those black knob maps. See if we can get a zoom in on that.
Oh, man.
That guy was
with the
catching
funky
rays.
shells. What? Black knob
Okay,
map turtle.
here's a ring map turtle.
Ooh.
You see
Dude, I
it?
used to go on your website a long time ago and just drool over all the turtles you post
Right.
up there.
I used to read in the books when I was a kid and say, those are really neat. How do you ever get those?
Yeah, man.
And now we breed them. That's so cool. Let's see what else we got. Okay, here's Argentine side necks that we hatched.
Oh, funky, dude. Look at those little boogers.
Gorgeous colors.
Yeah, man.
And these guys get as big as placemats, like sewer caps.
What?
And they're like little monkeys. I mean, they have little personalities and everything. If I had one turtle, that might be the one I'd keep because they're just such cool turtles. Okay, this is the Melanochelys trichuga thermalis. It's an Indian turtle. It's got speckling on the head like a Hamiltoni, but it's orange instead of yellow. And we hatched that one here. And it's going to be a girl. This is one of the ones I had in that pen with our yellowfoots. And just a really cool turtle. This is a yearling already, though.
Dude. Say that scientific name again for me.
I'm trying to remember what the common name is. It's Melanochelys trichuga thermalis. There's a lot of Melanochelys trichugas, but I think there's 9 different ones. That's the one that has the orange head. And people are into the colors. Let's see. I've got here.
Yeah. Gangster, right?
These are Alsea bred in horse dye. Really cool turtles. Just a pretty turtle.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes they're reddish, but mostly they're yellow gold on the bottom. Just a really cool turtle.
The shell just fans out like that.
Yeah, and they get really, really big. Sometimes when they're younger, they don't have the spots, so they're misidentified. And I got one to match my pink belly snappers one year. I picked it out with George Ullman. People probably remember that name from the 90s. One of the best tortoise guys in the world. And he says, Mark, this is a nice one. I said, yeah, I saw that, George. So we brought it home, and I set it up in my pond, and then I didn't see it for a couple years. And then I drained the pond, and it was like that. And what was weird is some of my pink belly snappers look kind of like that, but when they're babies, they look, or juveniles, they look a lot more like the pink belly snappers if they don't have those spots on them. Okay, Plankton river turtles. These that's a black wood turtle. Let me see. Oh, these are black wood turtles. I think the label's wrong. These are giant black wood turtles from South America. These are the biggest wood turtles in the world. These get to about 12, 13 inches. So you're looking at about like that. I'll show you some in the pond a little bit later. Let's see what else we got. We got some red ears.
Man, just funky turtles, non-stop.
Asian box turtles. I love the box turtles. An Asian box turtle.
Yeah.
They're an aquatic box turtle. We're about ready to move our breeding group of these here from the other place. I did bring one over yesterday to give it a test out and see. We always have to test new pens and pay close attention to them. These are one of my favorites. This is a Puerto Rican slider. I'm not going to say anything bad about Puerto Rican people. I've got a lot of friends that are Puerto Rican people, but they are very hissy and very nasty and snippy. And when they're fed well and they're happy and they're healthy, they want to bite you and they want to yell at you. And I'm not saying anything about people because I love my Puerto Rican friends, but there are certain similarities in the turtle world. You know. Let's see here. We've got here. Okay, so these are Chinese golden box turtle. I'll show you some of the adults in a little bit. They're really, really cool turtles. So personable. They don't get that big. A little bit bigger than the American box turtles, but not much. Gibbous side necks from South America, all related to the Argentines. Okay, now this one here is a black pond turtle. We do hatch these here. Almost nobody hatches these in the world. This is a really, really cool turtle. Really hard to find. And when you get them into the U.S., they're really hard to keep alive, mostly because they're just not treated well before we get them. And people don't understand them that well. We've been breeding them for about 5-6 years now. Not an easy one to do, but we do them, and we're happy. We're up to 127 different species that we produce now, species and morphs.
127.
This is Reeves turtle, one of the most common turtles in the world. This is like, our most common turtles are right here, slider. The Chinese most common turtle is a Reeves turtle. It's a Chinese Reeves turtle. It's their turtle. And we did hatch one last year. This one's got a chunk out of his shell from one of his neighbors growing up. We did hatch one last year with 2 heads. It was really cool looking. Let's see. Okay. We're only in this room about a month. Let's see. Spotted turtles. Okay. Can't show you turtles without showing you an American spotted turtle. You can tell it's a male. The face is so dark. The limbs are dark. The indentation on the bottom. Let's see if this one. This is a girl. She's shy. It's a beautiful turtle.
Beautiful, man.
They are difficult though. Spotteds are difficult. And anybody on the East Coast has to have a special permit if it's a range state. Another male. Let's see. Southern black knobs, Kegels. Let's see if I've got any superstars here. Okay, so this is a southern black knob map turtle. You see how those knobs tend to level off.
It's like
as they
real
get older.
dinosaur-like, you
Yeah,
know?
they get smooth as they get to be adults. The females have almost nothing. You see the giant tail the males have. Females have almost nothing for these when they're born. They have big ones.
I love the little orange rings around it, like little calamari.
Let me see if I have a ring map in here. I don't think I have one in here. Maybe this one's better. Here's a Kegel's map. It's one of the 2 Texas map turtles. There are other species that live in Texas, but the Kegel's map and the Texas maps only live in Texas. This is the only green map turtle. I don't know if the lighting shows it well enough. Or here, maybe we step in the sun, you can see it. So really pretty green color. What's cool about the Texas maps and the map turtles from Texas, the Kegels and the Texas maps, is that they're very, very hard shelled, which, just suggests that some things like to chew on them. So they've evolved that way. They're very hard shelled. Most map turtles are not hard shelled, and they do fine in nature. But these guys, for some reason, had to develop that way to be healthy. Let's see if I have any. I think there's a ring in here someplace. Kegels. Okay, let's see. Reeves. Okay, here's painted wood turtles from Central and South America. Yeah,
love those guys, man. They're so colorful.
They're a real pretty turtle. Let's see what I've got from this guy. What are over here? Let's see. So again, we'll cheat and run out into the sun because things look so beautiful in the sun. Look at the colors on these guys.
Yeah, man.
You can see the colors on their heads. They're a little wonky
Guys,
when they're
look at
younger, where
this.
they get the males especially are very indented, but the colors on them are just so cool. They're
Yeah,
just
man.
amazing colors.
And they're so vibrant.
Someplace out there's a couple of albinos. I'd love to see these.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen those on the reptile
Yeah,
forums.
I'd love to see these as albino. That's so cool. Let's see, Korzougi, pink bellies. Okay, there's a couple of cool ones over here. So here is something that there's only a couple people in the country produce these. These are twist necks. Now we have our breeding group, but we don't produce them yet. I've hatched 2, so I wouldn't say we're producing them yet. But this is a twist neck turtle. Lives in shallow waters in Central South America. See if it'll stick its head up. Pretty orange head. And
They
they
had
kind
a two-tone colored head, huh?
yeah, and they kind of remind you of like a mango pit, the shape of the shell, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll come out for the picture, but oh, come on, dude. Some more of the blackwoods, just when they're a little bit bigger. They get big very quickly, and they're actually a very pretty turtle too.
What would you say a turtle with the fastest growth rate is?
Most of the ones that are born big grow fast. So
Yeah.
the Caligars get big fast. The Blackwoods are born. These guys are born. You saw the size of they're just born. So what's a good indicator of that is if it's not a big turtle but they're born big, then they tend to grow very quickly. And it's truly just an adaptation to the predators in the area. They have to get big fast, get big or get eaten. Let's see. I think there's 1 or 2 other cool turtles to show you here.
Guys, are you guys geeking out like I am? This is just so insane.
Here, check out this Hamilton.
Cage after cage, turtle after turtle.
See him looking up at my hands?
Yeah.
He's like, what's that guy going to do with me? This is an Indian spotted pond turtle. The guy who produced all of these is originally Wayne Hill, director of the National Reptile Breeders Expo. He had these turtles going back to the 60s, and now they're an endangered species. They have been for probably 3 decades. And not allowed to go internationally, not even allowed to leave the state. But Wayne produces hundreds of them, and they're just an awesome turtle. They're not aggressive. They get really big. They're great for ponds in the south, but they can't leave the state. Let's see. Sure, I've got some cool looking Belize sliders here. Let me see if I can take a couple out for the. Let's see. We'll come out here in the sun again.
Yeah.
Okay. So we produce a lot of these. I'll show you the adults of these in a little bit. So these are Belize and Mexican sliders, just amazing colors.
Wow.
And we just keep
Reminds me
breeding.
of the Central American woods patterns,
These guys get big, but they are tough as nails. They live in a lot of places, but one of the places they live is Lake Nicaragua. And Lake Nicaragua is cool because it has 3 predators that I respect. One is piranhas, one is bull sharks. It's also called the Lake Nicaragua shark locally. And one is the Cayman crocodiles.
Oof.
So they have to survive crocodiles, sharks, and piranhas.
So that's a hard 3 to navigate.
Yeah, that's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, man. That's like certain death.
Yep. Now here's some grow up Puerto Rican sliders. We looked at those before. Remember I told you when they get a little bigger, they get a little hissy, and just not real friendly. And again, I don't make any correlation between that and people, but these are just. You can see they have nice
Spunky.
Yeah.
I can hear them too.
They're very gray.
Yeah.
And really beautiful eyes on them, but they are just not friendly.
Little funky guys.
They're
Little
probably the least friendly of the sliders. Very unique colors.
Wow.
And
Puerto Rican sliders.
Puerto Rican sliders.
Look great, yeah,
and they don't get that big either. They don't get that big. But if you live in the South and you want to keep some turtles in a pond, so that's definitely a male, and you have any lineage or friends from Puerto Rico, you can celebrate that by having a Puerto Rican slider. I don't know anybody else who breeds them in the U.S. Not that they're rare. I just don't think there's been a lot of interest, and we hatch about 100 a year.
Wow.
So we're pretty good with those guys.
Puerto Rican sliders.
Okay, so here I've got a couple more maps. I thought I had a ring in here someplace. So here's just the Mississippi with a little algae on it, but it's got nice orange shell. This is a southern black knob. Now you say, well, how do you know southern versus northern? Because they're very similar. Well, the head markings, I'm not a map guy, but the map guys know real easily that the markings what they tell. But if it was an all yellow belly, it'd be a northern black knob. This is a southern black knob, and they got nice rings on them. This is just a pretty Mississippi that we hatched, and we work on that. We work on getting our Mississippis very orangey. Let's see, Mississippi, southern black knob. Let's see, I'd love to show you a red cheek, although they don't show their colors very well. Probably get a couple of these guys.
Red cheek muds?
Yeah, we'll run back and forth into the sun to see really cool ones. Okay, so these are red cheeks. Christmas time, their noses get red, and we sell them as red-nosed red cheeks, and people love it. You know, like the reindeer. So these are red cheeks. Great secret about red cheek muds is if you grow them up in a dark cage, they're going to be dark, and if you grow them up in a light cage with a lot of light, they tend to get their red colors better. So that's a secret. The Chinese lad, a friend of mine in China, taught me that about 10 years ago. He said, just keep them in a white cage with lights, and they'll get the bright red heads. Because people here were doing that, and they weren't sharing with anybody.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Gotta share the wealth, man, you know?
Well, you know, most people in reptiles aren't free with information.
Yeah.
But turtle guys are the exception. Turtle guys will do things for the sake of the turtle. I'll tell you a quick story which people love. Here's some great shots of spotteds. You can see them.
Yeah.
Mostly females, I can see just by the faces. Okay, so turtle guys, real important to note, I always make a distinction about this, is that we'd rather see you successful even if you're going to compete with me, you know, as far as selling.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I had a friend of mine from Shanghai visiting me about 5-6 years ago, and he stayed with me for a couple of days, and he's a good customer of mine for many years and a good guy. And he said to me, oh, you showed me and taught me so much. Is there anything you'd like to know from me? And I said, sure. How come guys come to the National Reptile Breeders Expo from Asia, mostly China and Japan, and they all do the same thing? And I don't understand it. He goes, what is that? He goes, they take a turtle and they look at it and they turn away, and then they come back with an answer if they want it. And when they turn away, I'm already ready to jump over the table and go, hey, give me back my turtle. You know, but they're not taking the turtle. Mm-hmm. What are they doing? He goes, oh, you don't know? I said, no, what are they doing? He goes, they're telling the sex. I'm like, well, how are they telling the sex if it's not a sexually mature turtle? And he said, well, you know how you pop snakes? I said, yeah. He says, well, you can pop a turtle the same way. So I'm going to show you. Probably easier to show you in the sun. This is a freebie for everybody, but it's important to know because it helps with turtle breeding. So if you're worried about getting bitten, you might want to put a glove or a piece of paper over the head. But you're going to press here, and you're going to press here, and you're going to press here. And you're going to press here and here. If it's a mature male, the penis will come out. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like popping a snake. Let's see if this one will do it for us. It's kind of young. It's kind of small. Come on now. What? So check it out. It's not quite there yet. When you have a bigger one, it really shows up. There you go. Oh. See that?
Oh, dude.
So that's a male. I
never knew you could pop a turtle.
There's no doubt about it. Now, if you do it carefully, you won't hurt the turtle. You don't want to put them back in right away. Because if you put them back in right away, everybody's going to go, ooh, look, food.
Yep. And
they're going to bite as you know what off. Mm-hmm. And they do that. If they invert like that on their own, they will bite that, and that'll ruin a breeder. Mm. So you don't put them in right away. You're going to have to put them in something else until you see it go back away. But it usually doesn't take that long. And of course, we knew this was a male because of the nails anyway. Mm-hmm. But if you have a slider that's like this, it's 3-4 inches. It's not a big adult slider, or map turtle. It works. The maps work, the painteds work, the sliders work, and it's kind of a secret that the Chinese had for a long time. I've only known a couple of American people who knew about it before me. I'm just taking off the scoots it needs to shed. But I've only known a couple people who knew about it before me. Everybody else was kind of awed. Even Dr. Bill McCord, who is the premier turtle veterinarian in the world. We were at a TTPG conference about 4 years ago, and he's like, I don't know what you mean, show me. So we ran right across the street to the local reptile show that was going on, and I took an albino reindeer, not different from this at all, and I showed him. You see, it's all ready to go back now. Wow. And he was like, wow, you learned something. And Bill's 75, maybe 72 at the time. Let's see, where did I get this guy from? Right here. So that's a thing. That's a really key thing. You can't do it with little babies, you know. And when you do it with a female, sometimes a little something comes out. But you think about what we just saw, and you think about how little something started to come out. Okay, that's a little something. When it came out, there was no mistaking it.
Yeah.
You knew you were in one sex versus the other.
Yep.
And there's no denying that. So a female will sometimes have a little something come out, a little bit of pink or something, but it's not the same. When the male pops out, it pops out. If I do that to a Reeves turtle, I think what it pops out is bigger than itself sometimes. I mean, you have to appreciate those guys.
That guy must be black or something, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Gates up. Stay, Rex. Okay. So here's our tortoise is just getting some sun today. This screen porch we moved, what we talked about earlier when we were driving around. Same building as the other place. It's actually like inverted about 1.5 inches on this side. So let's see if there's anything in here to show you. When we built this building in the suburbs, it was great because it has this one row here that they all drain at once with a gate valve underneath. Now out here with the wells, continuous flow, and a place to expel the water without going outside our property, which is important to the Department of Agriculture. This is not as cool as it used to be. It works. We can still clean all of these in about 1/10 the time that it normally would take. But most of our stuff that we're building outside is all continuous flow with the well. So we moved this whole building over. Here we've got some map turtle. Let's see if I've got anything cool to show you. Okay, one of our last pearl rivers was kind of struggling, so we didn't send him out or anything, but he's just let me see if we get him a little bit wet. Nice little Texas map too. The Pearl River map is just incredible shell. This guy, not in the best shape. He's going to have to rehab before we could do anything with him. We hatched maybe 35, 40 of these, and they don't all do well. And, you ship stuff out to people, they never see the ones that struggle. They only see the ones that are home runs. They never see anybody but the top stuff. If it's not in perfect shape, we can't send it out. We can't send it out to struggle. Here's a Texas map. Talked before about see how little they are. This is a high orange one, just amazing colors. And this is a Mississippi map, just a high orange one. Let's see if it'll stick its head out for us. And we can cheat a little bit of the sun coming in through the windows. Mississippi map, Texas map. Let me see if there's anything else in there that's interesting. Texas ring. There's one ring map. Let's see if I can find it. I see. For you. Okay. So this is a ringed map turtle. This is one of the rarest map turtles in the world. And it's not a yellow blotch. It's very closely related, but it is a ringed map turtle. We produce those, and we produce the yellow blotch. And this is one of the ones that can't cross state lines. Let's see if I have anything else in here with cheetahs, Florida cooters, Midland panthers, Mississippi high orange. Okay, these are kind of cool. These are Kwangtung river turtles. This is something is called functionally extinct, meaning there are no reproducing populations in nature.
Wow.
There are some out there, very, very few. 2 decades ago, they sent a couple big teams out from the government to find them, and they found one male. They're just not in the wild anymore. They're gone. They've been eaten. They've been predated. You see some of the beautiful baby colors they're born with. Yeah. And they just don't exist in nature anymore. There could be a couple out there, but they're never going to find each other, so they're what they call functionally extinct. Mm-hmm. However, the Chinese people themselves realized this and put a huge value on them. So what used to be a $20 wholesale turtle, maybe a $70 retail turtle, jumped up to $2,200 a turtle. Wow. For about 2 years. And when the Chinese had enough that they could reproduce their own, they breed the heck out of them. And so do we. Sadly, I was getting them when they were already going up in price, and people offered me all kinds of money as they were close to breeding size. And then when I said no all the time, finally we could breed them, they were back down to maybe $100.
Yeah.
So, but that's the way it works. And if you did it just for the money, you might do it differently, but I can't do it for the money. I've been loving turtles since I was a little kid.
Yeah, man.
And that was 50 years ago. So, so these are Kwangtung river turtles from China. extinct in nature, but there is probably more in the U.S. captive bred every year than were ever bred in nature in the last 50 years. Before that, who knows? Let's see.
Man.
Golden thread, gibbon.
Talk about passion, man.
Turtles are cool.
50 years, and it's a long game, man. People, not to knock any of the quick breeders that they can get a snake or a whole colony up in a year, 2 years, but dude, you're raising these turtles up from babies all the way to adulthood. This takes
these are
sometimes almost a decade, huh, to get these guys.
It does. I was working with these Vietnamese ponds, similar market story to the Quang Tongs, where because they're extinct or close to extinct in nature, the price went way up. And it was never crazy. It was like $600 or $700. It was never thousands. But, I was getting them when they were on the way up in price, and I wasn't actually breeding them until 2 years ago. Last year was our first year to hatch any. So, it's a $100, $150 turtle, but still extinct in nature. And again, if I came to the U.S. from Vietnam, I'd want a little piece of where I came from just to remind me. Just like if I go to live in Europe, I might want an American turtle.
Yep.
To keep me company and remind me. Let's see what else we have.
So many guys.
So here's some more sliders. Got two kinds here. See if I can catch them. Okay, let's go to the sun. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, so these are, we've looked at these before. These are Belize sliders. Mm-hmm. And with the influence of Mexican sliders, all the same species. It's a Belize are from Belize, and they have a little bit more orange. And these are completely different. These are...
These are from Nicaragua, right?
Well, these are from Mexico, Belize, and Nicaragua. These two are Daubigny sliders. This is a Uruguay, Paraguay slider. They don't get real big, but I'll show you some adults that are real pretty. The orange on the shell tends to get really big and broad in the markings. This is a very cool turtle, not real big again, but maybe 7 inches, 8 inches, but a real pretty slider turtle. Maybe a dozen people in the U.S. breed them. And they're not real expensive. They are rare, though, but they're not real expensive. Let's see. What else do we have?
Excuse me.
Okay, ready? Japanese wood turtles. Another one that we produce here. Always dark on the bottom, but they usually have really nice colors on the shell.
Yeah.
These are just little babies. We probably hatched them out in September, October. A neat turtle.
It's jet black on the bottom.
It is. And sometimes I'll run a sale. I'll run a flash sale off our website. Like today we have one, buy one, get one free food. Mm-hmm. You buy tortoise diet, you buy turtle diet, you get buy one, get one. But sometimes I'll run like an international sale. So I'll have Puerto Rican sliders, I'll have Japanese wood turtles, I'll have Russian tortoises, I'll have everything on there 10% off or 20% off or whatever it is for the day. And it's just kind of cool to give you that international feel because, the United States North America has the most diverse turtles coming in from this part of the world, in the world, but it's still only a quarter of all the turtles in the world. You still got a lot of other stuff from other parts. Australia has so many different ones. Mm-hmm. Asia has a bunch. A lot of Asian turtles. Of course, Africa has. Europe has not that many, but they have a few cool ones.
Would you say you have just as much customers internationally as you do nationally? Close to it.
I don't do a lot of exports anymore because there's a lot of work goes into an export. So you're not going to do an export for a few $100s.
Yeah.
It's got to be thousands of dollars. When the radiomorph market was really high, it was always worth it.
Yep.
Because it wouldn't matter. But if you're going to do $3,000 worth of homework and expenses to ship out $3,000 worth of turtles, the prize is not worth the chase.
Yep.
If you can do $15,000, all right, you're starting to get into worth it, but not really. 2 years ago, I wouldn't touch it. Now it's like, okay, well, that's all you really have because some of the radiomorphs are so expensive, you could easily get those numbers.
Yeah.
You know,
It's crazy how they went up in price so much. Was it like 10 years ago?
a
They
lot of
just
things, yeah, a lot of things
shot
went up like that and went down, and now you see, like, China's a mess, and it's not a mess turtle-wise, it's a mess, period, because of the virus and
Yeah.
because of all the chaos there, and nobody's certain. And what was very certain before, the turtle markets are very unstable, so the red ear morphs just plummeted. I was putting together charcoal red ears to breed, and they were $900 a piece for babies. And then I hatched some, and if you wanted to sell them in downtown Shanghai, they were $15. There's still $400 or $500 here because there's not a lot of them here.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chinese started producing the black pearl, which is their version. It's not even the same gene. You can't breed. You breed a black pearl and a charcoal together, you're gonna get a green turtle. Breed the babies back, you'll get both. But you really, they don't want the charcoals anymore for $900 if they can buy their own for $15. So
Insane,
yeah,
man.
that's just the way the market goes. Let's see, American wood, gibbas. Okay, here's a cool one. This is a turtle I've had for a number of years, and nobody knows what it is. Dr. Peter Pritchard, when he was alive, couldn't identify it. Dr. Bill McCord has looked at it several times. He comes to visit me every year, every other year. He couldn't identify it. Nobody could identify it. I've teased people. I've given talks and presentations at TTPG where you have 300 turtle people in the audience, and I said, this is a new species that was found in the Great Lakes, and everybody's like, oh, really? What is it? What is it? And I'm like, nah, I'm just kidding. Don't know what it is. You know, it's like, I have no idea. Because everybody's sitting there going, how does Mark know about this? Who am I in the turtle world that I know about a new species? I don't. I couldn't. But I got this turtle as a hatchling. I don't know what it was supposed to be. Everybody thinks it's related to a river cooter. They think it might have some yellow belly. It might be a hybrid. Or maybe it's the only one of its kind. I don't know what it is. We can't really tell. It's an awesome turtle. I'm excited now that we're moving to give it its own big home. I have a few favorites like this one that I want to give a big, beautiful tank to, and just really let it enjoy it to the world as much as I enjoy it.
You guys comment down below if you think you know what this species is. If it exists, if there's a hybrid, like, what is it?
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, there's a few like that. Let's see. I do have a hybrid someplace here. Red belly species.
It's such an honor to see wizards at work, you know? Like, 50 years, I'm 28, he's doubled my life in just turtles. Like, think about that.
Here's always an interesting one to look at. This is the pink bellies. So these are albino pink bellies. Wow. And my good friend Paul Vanderscow came up with the first albino years ago. He didn't have an albino, he just had some that had the genes, and he found out he had albinos. And pretty much, I would not be surprised if all the ones in the world came from Paul, all the albinos. We've hatched, small numbers in the beginning, maybe 100 albinos a year now. These turtles were way up in price when they first came out, and now they're not so expensive. But they're still hundreds. I mean, anytime you can hatch something for hundreds of dollars, it's a win.
Yeah.
And they're just a real cool turtle. They're just as personable as the regulars. I'd love to show you. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is a red ear slider river cooter hybrid.
Wow.
And my friend has a pool, a pond in Louisiana full of river cooters, and the red ear got in there, and it made this weird thing, which is part red ear and part red ear and part river cooter, southern river cooter. And the colors are just exaggerated, and it seems to have maxed out at male size. I almost want to put it with that other one just to see what happens, but it's so big for a male, and that she's so small that I wouldn't want to have him attacking her. He's got those male nails.
Mm-hmm.
Males can be real aggressive breeding. But it's just a cool turtle. It's just a real pretty turtle. Let's take a look in the sun.
Yeah.
Also had it for a number of years, but just exquisite colors.
Yeah, man, the thing is funky.
So one of the parents was a red ear, and one of the parents was a southern river cooter. It has markings of both. This is traditional red ear markings for the most part. This is traditional cooter markings for the most part. The head says red ear. The shell says river cooter.
Wow.
Who the heck knows? Who the heck knows?
Sick,
We know it's
man.
a male. And the problem a lot of times with hybrids is that sometimes the offspring are what they call mules, which means they can't reproduce.
Sterile.
yeah, you don't know why. It's just part of the hybridization, which the bodies don't perfectly match or mesh. Let's see. So I'll hold that together with the unknown species, and you can see the differences in the two. Yeah, if you have anybody out there that has guesses, but we've been getting guesses from experts for decades now. This turtle's probably 15 years with us.
Wow.
Since it was a hatchling.
Male and female, you're gonna put them together and see what happens.
Yeah, see?
I
Look
love
at the
it.
tails. Look at the tails.
So sick,
And that
dude.
blocky head, I mean, it looks yellow belly. Who knows? It's just very different.
That's so sick. Projects like that just, I know, get you going, huh?
Well, everybody has favorites.
Yeah.
Everybody has favorites. And I hate to say it, but, one thing is you got to look at the bottom line. You got to pay the bills every week and every month. But, there's times when I'm almost tearing up when I lose something.
Yeah.
Not everything is meant to live. And, to live past a certain age. And, or something goes wrong where it either gets stuck in or another turtle's aggressive to it and you can't always save it. Or they just catch a bug.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bugs that go out there. I mean, we have a battery of medications that we'll go through. And then we go to what I call the nuclear option, which is just to put a little bit of bleach water in. Not a lot, but a little tiny bit, because bleach in the water will kill a lot of stuff too. And then beyond that, I will take a sample or a turtle and I'll send it to the state lab in Kissimmee. And I showed you pictures before of Dr. Reddy. He's a director of the state lab, and they do wonderful things. They have a brand new building with every machine under the sun. And I'll send it to them, and I'll send it on a Monday, say, and I'll usually have a preliminary report written by somebody with a PhD at the end of their name before lunch on Tuesday.
Insane.
Yeah. And do they charge me what the vet charges to take care of the dogs? $1,000 to remove a bump or something like? No, it's like $100. Because they're not there to make money. They're there so that people can take care of their animals. Whether you're an agriculture person or a person with animals who keeps animals like us for a hobby. The state lab in Florida, it's called the Bronson Diagnostic Disease Laboratory in Kissimmee, is there for everybody to use. Everybody in America could utilize that lab, whether you're in industry or you're a private individual and you have questions about the health of your animal, you want to know what bug got in there or what's wrong with, they can tell you. And that's the way the world should be.
Yeah, man. I love that.
Let's take a look around some more.
All right.
Yeah, this is really a template. We're just waiting to get our real building going on.
Yeah.
And you cannot clean your hands in between enough times.
Cleanliness is the key, man.
Well, I go to agriculture meetings 4 times a year, 5 times a year, and every industry gives its reports. And the one word you hear all the time between the state lab, the USDA, the Florida Department of Agriculture, equine industry, the cattle industry, reptile industry, goat industry, deer industry, the word you always hear is biosecurity. Biosecurity. Not cross-contaminating from this side of the room to that side of the room, that side of the property, that side of the property, this sick herd of animals to that sick herd. Because in mammals, when they touch noses, that's it. They gave each other whatever it is. So the last one I wanted to show you in here. Let's see. Well, it's actually a pretty.
Yeah, that guy is funky.
Pretty high orange map over here.
The guy in the sun, that thing is sick.
Yeah, he's got a little algae on him, but this is a high orange map turtle. We hatched these for color. We've been doing it for about a dozen years, so we're getting in more and more orangey turtle. And we're going to do well with those.
Dude, what?
Now let me show you this turtle. Ready? And this is Felix and Oscar. It's a little hot. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Their light's just too hot. We'll adjust. Okay. We've had these guys about 4 years.
What?
Is that cool?
Oh my goodness.
So these guys are doing very well. They seem to be maxed out growing at about 3 inches. They're good buddies. They get along great. They show each other food. They have one tail. It looks like somebody put them on a golf tee and just whacked their butt. Right? Looks to be a female. The nails show that too.
4 years.
Yeah, about 4 years. So they're indestructible at this point. I brushed the algae off, but other than that, they're in top shape. And just a really cool two-headed radiator slider. And they're past that delicate stage. There is a big demand. Most of the time, who wants these more than anything else is either people with too much money, which they're not my favorite customer. My favorite customer is the pet store.
Yeah.
That wants to have something novel, that will get people to come in, bring their kids, get them interested. I have a friend who's got like a beachwear store in North Carolina, and she sells animals out of it. And she always gets cool stuff. And when she has a two-head, she says, you put up a big sign that says, stop and check out our two-headed turtle with a like a drawing of a two-head, and you will hear the cars skidding in the road as people are driving up and down the coastal highway with their kids, and they want to see
this
that.
rare turtle.
Yeah, and it's the coolest thing. And maybe
So
they come in and buy nothing, but they just get into turtles. And that's fine.
Look at that, guys. How insane.
Felix and Oscar. That's for people over 40 who remember who Felix and Oscar were, the odd couple. And they're just really cool turtles.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
What a unique thing.
Okay. And you can see it up against the normal color. Well, I thought you did. Well, let me find the darker one first so you can see it. You can have a contrast here. Some yearlings. You see that light Trepicatus? Mm-hmm. It's just a very white turtle.
Wow.
A lot of pinks on it. Much lighter than the average turtle.
Two of the same turtles.
Yeah, and just
insane.
It was one of two that we've ever hatched out. We have a female. That's a female also. We have a female that's about like this now, just as light or lighter than that. And this is just a really, really bright light one. It's got an imperfect shell. It's got extra scoots, but it's still a healthy turtle. And it's just a really cool turtle. I think we've seen everything. African helmeted. Let's see. So these are African helmeted turtles. Cute little turtles. Awesome if you're going to just have one turtle. Any of the African muds are great because they have great personality. And they're great in pairs or groups, but if you're just going to have one turtle, they're a great turtle because they're not expensive. They don't get real big. They're very, very durable. You can make a few mistakes and they still do well. They don't drown easy. They're just cool pets. And a great one to work with. Let me see. I've got Razorback.
You have literally every single thing. It's like a library of turtles. The turtle source.
We just sent a couple wholesale orders out the other day too. They'll clean this out pretty good too.
Yeah,
So much
I can't freaking tell.
So these are Razorbacks. Just we looked at the really big one before. This is just an awesome turtle. Super high dome. And great colors. Don't get real big. They don't need to bask. And they're not aggressive. They won't bite. You know, most turtles won't bite, but it's kind of like having a skill saw. If you shove your finger in the moving blade, you're asking for trouble. Mm-hmm. If you see a turtle open its mouth, especially if it's feeding, you're asking for trouble.
Yep.
But unless it's a snapper, most turtles don't really care to bite. They're just not interested in it. They just want you to either take care of them or leave them alone.
Out of your 50 years of working with turtles, you ever had a bad turtle bite? When you were a kid?
I had two. One was when I was a kid, and I was just starting out, and I had an Eastern painted turtle. And it was one of my first turtles. So I was 9 or 10. And I'm 9 or 10 stupid. And I hold the turtle and it's open his mouth. I'm like, it can't be that bad. Ah! I was like seeing stars. And it bit through my finger. I mean, I was half the size I am now. So I was a little kid. And the turtle was bigger and it just bit right through. Mm-hmm. And it didn't kill me. I mean, I just, I had to clean it up.
Yeah.
But I just saw stars. That was the first time. Then I respected turtles from then on. Mm-hmm. I was taking pictures when I first had a retail website in 2008. of a Salvini female adult, and I'm trying to juggle the camera, and I'm really big on a picture just looking right, because you can have a great subject, a great background, a great camera, and take a shitty picture all day long.
Yep.
But if you get it right, sometimes you need 50 pictures to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get it right, so I'm juggling the turtle, I'm doing this and that, and the female Salvini, I just saw my finger, I think it might have been my pinky, and she just looks and she's like, I can get that. And she just reached out and bit down, and I looked at her and she looked at me and she said, you know, I can sever this if you want.
Oof.
And I know she was down to bone, and then she just said, I don't want it. She just backed away. And I said, thank you. And I didn't have but just a cut on the top and a cut on the bottom and a very sore bone. The ligaments were fine. It wasn't bleeding out or anything. It was just a cut.
It's clean cut.
Oh man. And I had to bandage it for about 2 weeks. Those are my 2 worst bites. I've been bitten a lot of times. You get frustrated and you're like,
yeah.
Okay, you're just doing your job. You're just being a turtle, you know. But most turtles are not aggressive that way.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's like a saw. If it's opening its mouth, it's asking you not to bother it. And if you're not smart enough to shove your finger in its mouth, what do you think was going to happen?
You guys hear that? Don't be stupid. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Let's see. Okay. These are Joffrey's side neck turtles from South America. Really pretty side neck, almost a snake neck turtle. Gorgeous colors, real cool personalities. All the South American turtles, the gibbas, the Argentine side necks, Joffrey side necks, they all have personalities. They're like little monkeys. They climb very well. They're very outgoing, very durable. And we're raising these up because we have not bred this species yet. We really want to. But we've taken our time with these. We don't know enough about them. It'll probably take a few more years and be able to breed them. Probably had these here 3-4 years already. You see a little white coming up out of our well that's on the shell. Real pretty turtle.
Insane. Orange belly.
Mm-hmm.
You guys checking that out? Yeah. I love this camera gets all the good stuff in the glare. You guys see how clear this water is too? I mean, it's constantly running, but it's just crystal clear. The systems you have up here, man, to set everything up is insane, man.
Yeah, they're really different for us because, you know, if we use this much water in the suburbs, we'd be going about $3,000 a month.
Yep.
Maybe 4. But you got the other challenges. You got the catfish. You got this well water, which is a different pH. It's very basic, and it's got white limestone in it. Okay, this is one that we hatched first time this year. These are furrowed
And you
wood.
made all these yourself too, huh?
We did years ago. These are furrowed wood turtles. This is a giant adult.
Wow.
They don't get that big. It's a real pretty turtle. I'll have to send you. I get a picture for you. One coming out of an egg, one of the first ones we've ever hatched. It's a real neat turtle. This is one of the smallest wood turtles in the world. Much smaller than North American woods. This is a full-grown adult. If she grew another inch, I'd be shocked. She's maybe 6.5, 6.25 inches. That's about as big as they get. With a little tiny tail. Just a beautiful turtle. You get furrowed wood turtles. Now these are captive born. The whole colony is captive born here in the U.S. So they're second generation at least. Let's see what else we got over here.
Man.
And then so the cooters.
Endless turtles.
These are more grow up. Albinos.
And guys, from the top, it may look like this green, but I'm telling you, these are artificial plants, and this water is crystal clear.
So here you can see the.
Before you open this, look at how he made this, guys. Okay, like the brake wire here, the little clip-ons. It's just insane, man. Somewhere where they can come up here and bask.
Look at this.
Oh man.
Geoclemys hamiltoni.
Wow.
Indian spotted spotted pond turtle.
You guys see the water? It's literally, it's clear. It is clear. You know, clean. Everything's clean. Mint.
She's tired. Infomercial, please, shameless plug, guys, for our industry. Right now, before the Senate is the America Competes Act. This is before the United States Senate. And the America Competes Act is a wonderful thing. Biden administration has a lot of good stuff in it. I know some real conservative people who like a lot of the stuff in there. I know a lot of liberal people and middle of the road moderates who like what's in there. We all can find tons to like in there. It's a great thing. The problem is it's over 3,000 pages long, and pages 1661 and 1665 are amendments to the Lacy Act. And what the Lacy Act is basically a way to regulate, restrict, and prohibit animals. And what happened already was this thing has to go through the House, it has to go through the Senate. Well, it made its way through committee in the Senate, but it didn't have these amendments to the Lacy Act. So you got the big America Competes Act that the House and the Senate have to pass, then the president will sign it and it's law. It's already been through committee in the Senate, but it hasn't passed the Senate. It's already passed the House. When it went into the House, the version was changed. It had these amendments to the Lacy Act on pages 1661 through 1665. The act is 3,000 pages long. The bottom line is there's a lot of great things in there, but you know what? Unless you're okay with losing all your rights to any animals crossing state lines except dogs and cats, you can't support this act. Because right now it's in committee in the Senate and it has to pass the Senate. Unless they pull those amendments out and pass it the way the Senate already approved it in the past, it's already passed the House because the House added those amendments. We got to get them to pull those amendments out or don't pass the act. Stop the amendments to the Lacy Act or don't pass the act itself. The whole thing has to just be trash. Because those amendments basically say that all animals except dogs and cats are injurious, meaning they can't cross state lines, and Fish and Wildlife Service would make a clean list. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service would make a white list or a clean list, would allow certain things after they've done extensive studies. So that means that overnight, the day after it passes, there be no over state lines animal businesses. Nothing could cross over state lines and nothing could come into the U.S. So again, the Lacy Act, which regulates animals for about a century now, has been amended in the House version of the America Competes Act. American Competes Act made it through the House with this amendment to the Lacy Act. And the Lacy Act amendments say nothing is good anymore. Everything will be prohibited. Every single animal that is not a dog or a cat. Birds, fish, hamsters, gerbils, reptiles, amphibians, invertebrates, mammals, you name it. Everything, everything. I know people in all industries, all agricultural industries are in play here. The fur industry is in play here. The pet industry is in play here. Nobody is in favor of these amendments. The act has got some great stuff, but unless you can call your senators, call your state senators. In Florida, it's Rubio and it's Senator Scott, Senator Rubio, Senator Scott, and they have to be crystal clear on get those amendments out of there because there is sneak attack. Phil Goss, president of USARK National, spotted them and alerted all the other industries, aquaculture, fish, everything. Get them out of there. This is for all animals, and it gives the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service the power to turn the water off for everything overnight. You'll wake up, you'll go to sleep one day, a normal person, you'll wake up the next day without the ability to get anything from out of state or out of the country or any animals or keep the animals. At best, they'll let you keep what they have and that's it. They'll make a whitelist. It'll take 20 years to get one animal on there. You'll never see an animal industry again. You'll never see a fish industry again. You won't have these hobbies, you won't have these pastimes, you won't have these passions or these joys or these loves. So we need to get to our senators, to our state senators. Every state has two. Contact those two people and tell them to get the Lacy Act amendments out. They're on pages 1661 to 1665. The senators aren't going to pass it right now because it wasn't in what they already put through their committee. They have to agree to pass it. They have to agree to tell us all no more animals. So you have to tell them to say no to that. Say no. Your state senators, every single state has two. Contact them, email them, call their office, talk to their staff. Don't be surprised if you can't get through to the senator. Nobody does, but their staff listens to you. Email them and tell them, get these Lacy Act amendments out of there. There are two different versions, again, the House and the Senate. Once they match them up, if those Lacy Act amendments are in there, we're all done. We're not going to be able to keep any animals, no turtles, no tortoises, no snakes, no lizards, no birds, no fish, hamsters, gerbils, rabbits, nothing. Nothing. It couldn't be more serious. This is as serious as a heart attack, guys. This is as serious as it gets. This will turn us all off. You really, really, really need to take 2 minutes. Email your senators. Go to the USARK website, National. They have directions on how you can contact your senators. Go to USARK Florida. Join them both. Join them both for $5, $10, whatever it is. But get in there and talk to your senators and tell them, pull these Lacy Act amendments out, or I'm not going to be able to keep animals, and neither will they. Nobody can. Nobody will. These have been snuck in there by one of the Congress people. I'm not going to say the party. I'm not going to say the person or the gender, but it was snuck in there. It was snuck in there like a sneak attack at the behest of the animal rights extremists, not the animal rights people, the animal rights extremist groups. And they snuck it in there through this one congressperson. And they want to do that so that we'll all wake up one day and go, gee, we can't have hamsters or gerbils or fish or anything. No aquatics, no pets, nothing. Dogs, cats, that's it. No monkeys, no ferrets, nothing. No pigs, nothing. You'll have nothing. It threatens industries. It threatens people. It threatens keepers. Contact your senators, your two of them, please. Call them, call their office a couple of times. Email them. Get your word in edgewise. We are millions strong. Over 80 million American households have pets. 80 million American households, not people. Households have pets. Speak up or you're not going to have your pets. You're not going to be able to have your pets anymore. Nobody's going to be able to keep these. Please, take me seriously. Take this seriously. Talk to them. Talk to the senators. 2 minutes to get an email out. Get it out. Speak up. They will listen to you. That's the way our government system works. Whatever party you're in, they listen to you, but they don't listen to nothing. And they don't listen to thinking, my neighbor will do it. Tarzann, Mike will do it. Mark will do it. Yeah, of course we'll do it. But they don't hear 2 voices. They don't hear 20. They have to hear thousands. And you have to speak up. Thank you, everybody. Please follow up on that. Please follow through. It couldn't be more serious. Thank you. And thank you, Mike, for letting me do this. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, sir.